So a couple things I wanted to point out is our Canvas page. If you look on our Canvas page, because a few of you I have first semester, but I see some new names. So just so you're familiar with how I set up my page, tomorrow I'll do a more formal introduction. But on the Canvas page, you'll see my name, my email, and that is the direct classroom number that comes directly to my class, 317-387-2749. There's also the student tech support. So if you have any problems with Canvas or any technical issue, you can call that number, 317-387-2525. Tutoring is after school on Tuesdays only. On Tuesdays, I stay after from 2:30 to 3:10. And then there's also the 21st century that is Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 5:30. Okay, so the way I set up my Canvas page is I try to put it up per unit. So if you look here, you can see for the first 4 weeks of January what we are doing. These are the notes. So and these are last year notes. So let me just start with that. So I may or may not modify it from last year to this year. I may add some things or take away some things. But if you're not in class or if you miss class, if you click here for 6.1, all of the 6.1 notes are exactly the same. So if you click there, you'll see a document that has the notes for 6.1. And it's the same document linked. I do recommend you take your own notes because again, I do change things and take things away. The most important thing is your assignment. So if you go to the very bottom of the Canvas page, you see the assignments and the due dates. So there are 5 assignments for Unit 6. Unit 6, the first one is a Canvas assignment that is due on Friday. It's due on Friday. Homeworks 2 and 3 are from your textbook. Notice I have a due date, and then there's also a date that you can submit it for partial credit. So to get full credit, you have to have it in by Wednesday. To get partial credit, you have to have those in by the 19th. So that was the main thing from Canvas that I wanted to point out is where you can find the notes and where you can find the assignments. So for today, we're actually going to start 6.1. We're not going to do all of 6.1. If you look at our calendar, we spend 3 days on 6.1. So we're not doing the entire notes. We're just going to do just a little bit just to kind of get started. Our quiz is on January the 14th, and our test is January 28th. So if you're taking notes, you want to just write 6.1, angles and their measures. I always recommend that you title the notes. So go ahead and title it 6.1, angles and their measures. I'll give you a moment to copy down the dates and to title your notes, and then we will get started with a little bit of the content for today. If you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself. I also have the chat box open, and I see that as well. So whichever way is fine if you have questions or comments. Okay, so take a minute and copy down. We're going to talk about angles of rotation and standard position. So take a moment to copy that down, and then we will go through some examples together. Are you able to see that writing on the screen?
Yes, ma'am. But real quick, can you go back?
No, I'm not writing yet, but I just wanted to make sure you could see. You could
Yes.
see the screen? Okay. All right.
I didn't have my notebook when the title slide was up. I have to go grab it.
Okay. The title slide, I can go back to that. Okay, so the title slide is 6.1, angles and their measures. And our quiz is January 14th, and our test is January 28th.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And for 6.1, it's just about angles of rotation. So if it's a positive angle, this is really important that you have this written down. But if it's a positive angle, we go counterclockwise. So we're going around the unit, well, around, but we're going opposite of the clock. So if it's a positive angle, for a positive angle, we go this direction. So for example, in a circle, there are 360 degrees. So if I take that 360 and I divide it into fourths, that means that I would have 0 degrees right here. And then this would be 90 degrees. This is 180. This is 270. And then when we get back, we're at 360. If we were to go around one full rotation. Okay. So if I ask you to sketch an angle, if I ask you to sketch a 60-degree angle, you would start here, because we always start here. This is called the initial side. And if I ask you for a 60-degree angle, we're going to rotate counterclockwise. 60 degrees would be approximately right here. This would be a 60-degree angle. Where this would be our initial, which is where we begin, and where we end is our terminal side. So in that first homework assignment that's due Friday, you have to click where the terminal side would be. So for this example, for a 60-degree angle, the terminal side would be in quadrant 1. So when you have your coordinate plane, this is quadrant 1, and this is quadrant 2. This is quadrant 3, and this would be quadrant 4. So what I wanted to do today was simply sketch some angles to see if you can determine which quadrant it would fall in. So off to the side, I'm going to sketch another coordinate plane as your reference. Remember, this is 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360 is the same place as 0. And we have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. So in your notes, sketch a 250-degree angle. So if you're asked to sketch a 250-degree angle, which quadrant would that fall in?
Positive or negative?
A positive 250-degree angle.
Never mind, it don't even matter. It's gonna be a 3.
So two positive 250. So here, and then it would be somewhere in there. This would be your 250-degree angle. So when you do your assignment, it's going to tell you to click on the Canvas page, because only the first assignment is a Canvas assignment. Assignments 2 and 3 are from the book. And I'll go back and show that again because I know I had some people join a little later. But you would click somewhere in this region for a 250-degree angle. All right, so take a moment. Now let's talk about a negative angle. So if it's a negative angle, then we rotate clockwise. So I'm going to sketch a negative over here. So we start at 0. And then this would be negative 90. This is negative 180. Negative 270. And then negative 360 is the same as 0. So if you were asked to sketch an angle that was negative 60 degrees, your initial side will always be here. This is always your initial side. But for a negative 60 degrees, that's actually going to be in quadrant 4. So it's when it's negative, we go clockwise. So negative 60 would be somewhere in here. This is a negative 60 degrees. This is your initial side. And then the terminal side is where you stop rotating. All right, go ahead on your own paper, sketch a negative 100-degree angle. So for negative 100, go ahead and tell me in the chat box what quadrant that would fall in. A negative 100-degree angle. That is correct. It would be in the third. So that's a little bit more than negative 90. So we're going to put it about here. And again, you're going this direction. And that would be your negative 100-degree angle. So the second thing I want to talk about, there's actually two different unit of measures for angles. Most measurements have more than one unit. So when we talk about distance, we can measure distance in inches, feet, yards, miles. For an angle, there are two different units of measure. The first and most common unit is a degree. The second unit is a radian. So let's talk about a radian. What is that? I will give you a second to copy this down. And then we'll talk a little bit about a radian, and then that will actually be it for today. On the last slide, I talked about the radius of the unit circle. I don't know if you all saw that, but a unit circle has a radius of 1. And that's why going around the unit circle, we have 1. So we're making a circle that is 1 unit away from the origin. And because it's 1 unit away, the circumference of the unit circle is 2 pi times the radius, which again, we just said is 1. So therefore, the radius or the circumference of our unit circle is 2 pi. So if I start here at 0 and I go around the entire circle, can't make a perfect circle. Not too shabby though. The circumference of this circle that I just created is 2 pi. So if you take 2 pi, because remember in degrees it would be 360, and we divide that into fourths, that means that at the very top of the unit circle, that is, well, let's actually, if you take half of the unit circle, half of 2 pi is pi. So from here to here is pi. And then half between here, half of half is pi over 2. And then here we would have 3 pi over 2. So it's kind of like, well, it's not kind of like, we are counting by 1/2. So we have 0, and then we have 1/2, we have 1, we have 1.5, and then we have 2. So let's go ahead and sketch out that exact same thing, except we'll do it in radians. So if we're doing it in radians, I'm going to draw it at the bottom and give you a second to copy down or sketch these 4 examples. And these are our last 4 examples for today. But if it's a positive angle or a positive, we go counterclockwise. and it's 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. That's our positive. And then because we're going counterclockwise for a positive, for our negative, we go 0, negative pi over 2, negative pi, negative 3 pi over 2, and negative 2 pi. And that's rotating clockwise. So radians can be a challenge because you have to be comfortable with fractions. Okay, so if I have pi over 4 is in between 0 and pi over 2. It's kind of like saying 1/4. 1/4 would fall between 0 and 1/2. So to sketch the angle pi over 4, the angle pi over 4, again, this is always your initial side, is going to be approximately right there. That is what that angle would look like. So pi over 4 would be in quadrant 1. Negative pi over 3, again, we begin here. Negative pi over 3, or 1/3. 1/3 is in between 0 and 1/2. So it's going to be in quadrant 4. So that would be my negative pi over 3. Positive 4/5. So if you were to convert this to a decimal, 4 divided by 5 in your calculator will give you about 0.8. 0.8 is in between 1/2 and 1. So that angle begins here, and it's going to rotate to about right here. And that's what that angle would look like. Positive 3 pi, what that means is I'm going to go around the unit circle. I'm going to go around 1 full time, and then I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go past the 2 and end right here. So 3 pi lands at the same place as pi. Okay, so that actually concludes today's notes. I am going to post this on Canvas. There will be a link for you to look at. Of course, we're day by day. I'm not sure if we're going to have in-person or virtual school tomorrow. But if the passcode changes, I will send it out again. And I'm working with tech support to get that removed so you don't have a passcode. But have a great day. And if you have questions, I will be on here for another few moments.